I decided very early to become an architect. Because it was in my family, my grandfather and great-grandfather were the architects, I knew that it somehow mysteriously combined math and art. Since my father died when I was 9, my mother suddenly realized that she had to support a young family, and it became very frightening because there was no real training or anything to fall back on. So she made us very aware as we entered our teenage years that you have to be able to support yourself because you can't count on this person taking care of you for the rest of your life.
Can you just give me the roll of the rough sketches so I can take those with me?
I'm an associate partner in my firm now, and if we're busy, it means that we will be working in a team situation, in which case I will oversee project architects, probably delegating more work than I'm actually doing myself.
Well, this is how you want it to be, sort of mostly typed with sort of dotted lines.
The other thing is that it gets very colored looking, but we can pick that up in color afterwards.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Male colleagues vary. It's very hard to find out what they really feel, because in effect you are their boss.
Good idea.
But generally I find, particularly with the younger group, they are used to women being in their class, and they're used to women being around. Whether they're used to women being their boss, that's another question. Have we tried doing a Xerox of this just to see how...
Yeah, the Xerox quality is excellent. It's excellent.
As a woman, you are extremely visible, and in fact there's a certain amount of curiosity about you. And consequently, I find that my phone calls are returned, that I tend to get interviews when I'm looking for work for our office. Then you have to take it the second step, and that is, again, selling yourself as a reliable, experienced member of the profession. And that's the difficult part. Now you've gotten past this sort of curiosity, and now you are looking at someone who is perhaps going to invest millions of dollars, and they're looking at this little girl who's sitting in front of them. And can this little girl really look after my $20 million project? And that's a big hurdle. To deal with the vulnerability, women in architecture tend to be very well prepared. You just make sure that you are as in control of the situation as you possibly can. There is about 32 acres of downtown Ottawa that was slightly depressed. It was a major retail area, but it was not doing very well. Well, now it's under construction, and so these little doodles that we made, they're actually building.
You know, it means that people are always going to be weather protected.
So they'll have all this completed in how many weeks?
In another 3 weeks, believe it or not, this will all be done.
So being able to look on that and saying, I had a major role in planning that, I think is very exciting.
The highlighting is fairly sparsely put on the mall, but it provides enough light for the buses and so on for the actual traffic.
That's right, and then you've got the lower lights there, which are pedestrian lighting.
And then the lighting from the stores will provide enough in this area. So is it quite nice at night?
It's beautiful. It's come a long way compared to what we had before.
Yes.
Well, a job like that is extremely rare, and you have to be flexible.
That's right.
Maybe it even means a move, and you have to be able to rationalize amongst your own priorities and decide whether that move is worthwhile. And if it's something like this situation in Ottawa, where I in fact commuted back and forth from Toronto to Ottawa for a year and a half, very disruptive to my life, but extremely exciting and worth every moment of it. After being married for about 10 years, it became very strong to me that I wanted to have a child at that point. Although it was also very clear that I would continue in my career.
It smells good.
What's your daddy do?
As far as the household routine, we pretty well share things. What happens is the person who's doing the activity, the other one looks after Sarah, because right now at 19 months, she has to be basically watched constantly.
You gonna wake up? That's a girl. Did you make a mess?
Between your career and being a mother, you don't really have a single second for yourself. You're just constantly busy.
Oh, grabbed your cookie, didn't you?
When I had Sarah, I stayed home for 5.5 months, and I had planned that completely because, especially when you're arranging daycare, you have to have a specific date. And even for the office, it's important so that they know when you're coming back. When I put Sarah in daycare, it was interesting because at this particular daycare, they take babies from 3 months. And I looked at the 3-month-old babies and I thought, oh, they're so tiny, how could anybody leave them? And I looked at my 5.5-month-old and I thought, well, she's big enough, she can take care of herself. In fact, the first week, I spent most of the week at daycare with her. And she always really enjoyed having all these children around and all the activity and noise.
No, you have to read it. Okay, let's finish the story. Tell the babies what's on the page. What's on the page?
I think for my daughter, things will have opened up much more. Although I have great aspirations for her, I'd like her to be a prime minister. I think that she should be able to choose what she wants to do. And from that point on, it's really up to her.
Up you go, Jake.
I think a career is of primary importance. It's not something to look at falling back on.